We did just adjourn the work session, and we had said the pledge at the beginning of that, so we're going to move right into the regular meeting agenda. So next item is roll call on agenda approval, and I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Bob Woods. Any discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. And so we will move to Mustang Spirit Recognition. I'll call Mr. Nelson.
All right, well, mine can't be here tonight because she's in Maple Grove cheering on the wrestlers. Her son Avery's wrestling. And the person I want to recognize is Rose Nelson. I don't know what we do without Rose. Our school cannot find enough substitutes. This is not just us, it's a statewide problem right now. Teachers and paraprofessionals, every day we go, I can't say every day, almost every day we have a sub position not filled. Many days we have 3, 4, 5 sub positions not filled. And what ends up happening is sometimes teachers give up their prep time and they go and take an hour of it. Sometimes Mr. Baki and I and whoever else will go in and we'll sit there for an hour. But a lot of times we can't find anyone, and Rose is such a gem. Not only, it's her first year here, she welcomes everyone in the media center, makes a positive environment for everyone, but also she's taken on more than she should. When Grace can't find anyone, right now she's out robbing. Wallace is Grace Kubish right now. When she can't find anyone to sub, Rose takes an entire class at a time in the media center. And I don't know what we do without her. She gives assignments, she's doing way more than we expect of her, and I just want to recognize her tonight for that. Rose Nelson.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Mustang Spirit from.
Mustang Spirit goes to our new employee, Greg Alt. He couldn't be here tonight either, and Andy Andres. They've been very good to work with from the office perspective. Come on a minute's notice and to our aid and help us with some unique needs and unique radio calls throughout the elementary from pre-K through 6th grade. So they dropped everything and really come to our aid. Greg's been a nice addition, and Andy's been great to work with throughout the years.
All right, well deserved. Thank you. Any other Mustang Spirit recognition? Okay, move into open forum then. Is there anybody who would like to address the board? And see nobody at this time, then brings us to the consent agenda. And are there any requests to remove any items from the consent agenda? And if not, our motion to approve it as presented.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ethan, second by Tammy to approve the consent agenda. Discussion. I will acknowledge and accept the gifts and donations on behalf of the district for the month, and that is Remax Select, $480 for cross country, and for Education Foundation, $100 in mini grants for classroom supplies at Mora Elementary. So, acknowledgements with thanks. Anything else? Not all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And motion passes unanimously. All right, next we will need to consider approval of the revised 2020, 2020, 2021 budget. You have that in your packet. Any comments related, Craig?
Well, we have some good news and some bad news. Which one would you like first? The good news is we were very close to the preliminary budget that we had proposed in March, as well as the final budget that we brought to you in June. The bad news is that we are spending deficit spending that We had proposed and we did project, and a part of that was specifically because the fund balance had crept, as well as we had the additional funding from some property that was sold, and that we were going to do a facility project that was going to utilize that money. So that other part of the good news is that deficit spending was, well, you were well aware of it, and it was proposed. And you did approve it. In this revised budget, there are a few items that I would just bring to your attention. And there are some things that we purchased, as well as some services that were purchased. Question was asked not too long ago, how much money we had spent on the election that we thought would be a general election in November, that turned out to be a special election because there was nothing else available. And so there was $16,000 additional costs on that election over and above what we had proposed and had you adopt previously. This year we also had a request from the Gaming Club Advisor to be paid. He had done it voluntarily and did request to be paid this year, so we added that in. We needed some portable walls for the stable, and so we paid $1,600 for that. We had some additional cafeteria tabletops that we needed to replace. We had some damaged ones, so there was $4,000 in that. One of the creative things, since we are struggling with subs, that we came up with was to have an incentive meals for our substitute teachers, and so we put $1,000 in the budget for that. We do have $7,400 in, as we had contracted with MSBA for the superintendent search. We also had talked with you previously about the caseloads that we have currently on our SPED teachers, our special education teachers this year. And the solution that we came to, the teachers had said that they would take the larger caseloads if they could get some assistance with the due process paperwork and evaluations that go along with that. So we did add $11,500 in for that. We did also purchase a new wrestling mat. And if you recall, last year, the wrestling team went to state and they beat Foley. Tom Youngbloom is 1-26 with Foley over his career, and to celebrate that, we did purchase a new wrestling mat as well. Previously, the previous mat that he had purchased was a lightweight, roll-upable, foldable one, and he wanted the heavier weight, full foam one. And with our new Mustang branding, it's really sharp looking on the picture. I can't wait to see it in person. We did have a glitch with the purchase order on it, so it hasn't arrived yet. We're expecting it here in the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll have it before wrestling is over with. And so some of those are additional things. Tammy, do you remember, did that snowmobile that we purchased, do you remember what the district contribution was on that?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay. We also did purchase a snowmobile. In the past, our cross-country ski team groomed the trails with Dick Smith's snowmobile, and in his passing, that snowmobile was sold, and so we needed to purchase one. And so we did buy one, and it had to be a specific one, if I remember right, Tammy. It was, it had to be a low-geared one that could pull.
But it was also for safety too. Kids
Right.
Getting hurt out and.
Yep. At the end of cross-country, or cross-country skiing, they always send out snowmobile out that checks the loop. And if we have an injured or down skier, they have a sled that they pull as well. So I believe that was somewhere around 7,000,
It was 9,000.
9,000.
The district put in 6,000.
Okay, the district put in 6, was a total of 9. They raised 3 through their fundraisers, so we did include that as well. That's wasn't in the budget that we had put in June. So those are the items that we've added. We did add some additional money into professional services in case that you choose to move forward with a springtime election, so that money is in there as well. If you take a look at the, and we'll just go ahead and roll through the sheet, that all of those things that have been added are a part of this. The budget that we had proposed previously was that we would be operating about $504,000 in the red, and we've trimmed that down to $496,000. And so then the breakdown on that is in the general fund of about $111,000. in transportation of $131,000. And if you remember, that also does include the purchase of a bus and a van. We have a commitment to our transportation department to replace a bus each year, as well as a van, so that we don't get in a situation where we were a number of years ago where all of our buses are older ones. In the capital, that's where we are in the red the most, and that was proposed previously, and we had intended to do that, and that does include that parking lot project that we had put in, that tied in with the tennis courts, and is located between the tennis courts and the softball fields. So that's our operating. Food service is operating a little bit in the red, but they need to. Their fund balance is significantly high, and so that's not an issue. In the community service, our fund balance had crept up there as well, so we had proposed some deficit spending there as well. And then the construction fund, that's the spend out on the tennis court completion. We have some money left in debt service, which gives you the total on the bottom then. Do you have any questions? If not, as I said, it's there's good news and bad news. The good news being that we're very close to what we had brought to you when you approved in June, which is our actual budget. And I guess it's actually good news that we have a little extra money that we could do some additional projects, but I did want to note that we had done proposed deficit spending previously, so this is not a surprise to anybody.
We're not driving any of our activities or athletic teams to win, go to state tournaments.
Well, you know, I've kind of done that the last 15 years or so. You don't realize how much extra time and effort goes into when your teams advance. There's the regular season, there's the first round of the playoffs, and when they go on, there's a lot of extra time, a lot of extra practices, a lot of extra things that go into that. And when our volleyball team went to state, we purchased a new set of volleyball nets for them. So it's not out of line, and it certainly isn't anything that we haven't done in the past. And again, I think that's a pretty big deal. I know you heard me say 1 in 26 and we beat Foley in wrestling. That's a big deal, folks. And I think any of the wrestlers or wrestling fans would agree with that.
Absolutely. Well, it generates a lot of enthusiasm throughout the buildings district-wide when we're represented and things like that, or advanced that way. And so going all the way down to the littles and gives them something to aspire to or to become involved with because of what they saw as these teams head off to state or wherever. So, okay. So, any comments on the budget? Or the revised budget?
I'll move
Second.
Okay. Motion by Bob Johnson, second by Bob Woods. Any further discussion? And thanks for that thorough rundown. Yes, appreciate that. Full disclosure. Any other discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. So, following approval of the revised budget, then the next item is.
Okay, deep breath, Tammy. You got 60 seconds here in between budgets, so. Sorry.
There's no time off. Okay, next, consider resolution directing administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs, positions, year 2020 to 21. And it is an annual consideration directing administration to continue keeping us balanced and cash flowing. So, need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ethan, second by Scott. Any further discussion on that? If not, we will vote by roll call. So, Jensen?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously with 6 in favor and 0 opposed. Thank you. All right, we have a proposed 2020-2021 school calendar, or a draft in your packet, and we need a motion to approve that as recommended by the calendar committee.
Make a motion to approve the calendar as presented.
Second. Motion by Bob, second by Tammy. Any further discussion or comments?
Just one question. In the meeting that we had afterwards, I thought we had put back in April 6th.
We did.
Okay?
And the reason that this one doesn't reflect that is when Kelly and I counted up the days, we couldn't finish the year by June 4th. And so we were forced then to pull that comp day out and put it at the end, so that our last student day then is June 2nd. We have teacher in-service and work days on the 3rd and the 4th, and the teachers then would be finished on June 4th. That's the reason that we pulled it
Well,
out.
that's perfectly good. I just had in my mind that that's what we had decided in
Yeah.
the office, and it wasn't reflected that way, so I thought I should ask. Thanks.
I can go into more of the details on the calendar if you'd like. I know Tammy and Bob, thank you for serving on that committee. We did hold a input committee that included all of the various groups throughout the district, with the exception of the students. In the past, I have met, but these student council members are so busy, aligning that time was very difficult, and so I haven't met with them. But based on the state statute, we can't start with students until after Labor Day. Labor Day isn't until the 7th of September this year, which puts us at starting on the 8th. Based on the way that Christmas and New Year's fall, we do have a little bit shorter break than the full 2 weeks that we had last year. And then as we go through the year, the conference days, we do have a shorter spring break as well. That's only Good Friday and Easter Monday. And again, in an effort to be finished by the 4th, that was required to have those shorter breaks.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
We do not have any makeup days on here. You had adopted the e-learning days, and so the intention for next year would be the same. That the first snow day would be forgiven for students, but staff would do some type of staff development makeup. And then for e-learning days, we would move into e-learning days with the second weather day, and we can do up to 5 of those as a maximum. And that, a reminder that e-learning day is not an electronic learning day, it's an emergency learning day. And a lot of people forget that. Those can only be used in emergency, and weather-related is one of those.
Okay, any other discussion? Not all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. All right, the next item on the agenda is consider approval of the local control resolution. I personally didn't remember what this was, but I think we did probably adopt it last year, maybe the second year, but it's a resolution put forward by the School Boards Association, was it Craig? And it is, bottom line is it's a show of support for local control in each district, for each district. So we could have a motion to approve or to adopt that resolution.
I'll make a motion to adopt that resolution.
I'll second.
Motion by Tammy, second by Ethan. Any further discussion? Okay, and I don't believe it requires a roll call vote, it's just counting the votes. So all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so for no opposition or abstention, so I think that passes on a vote of 6 in favor and 0 opposed. So thank you, everybody. And we have approval of the American Indian Resolution, another annual consideration. We are meeting the requirements of that committee, and Brenda, is this something that you are
something that I.
Randy, any comments on that before we approve it?
This is just a compliance review. We met
Compliance.
with the committee just to verify we're following through with the plan that we had put in place in the fall.
Mhm.
Nothing new, that's what,
All right.
Second.
Motion by Bob Jensen, second by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes unanimously. Okay, we have a few actions tonight, people, but that's okay. Item 12 is consider approval of the SEIU Local 284 seniority list, also in your packet. This is as of June 30th of 2019. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Scott, second by Ethan. Any further discussion? And all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next, consider approval of SEIU Local 284, 2019-2021 agreement for the board negotiation committee and recommendations. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Tammy. Any discussion, any comments, Craig or anybody that was on that committee?
It went well.
Not well.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
said.
well, we
So,
We met once or twice, but once.
thank you, everybody. Nice move. Alright, there's no further discussion. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Hmm?
No, it was twice, you're right.
Pretty efficient. Good job on both sides. And so then, next item is consider approval of negotiated salary agreement for Kurt Norgard as facilities operations manager.
After the custodial group settled, Kurt talked with Chip, who was his supervisor. They came in and talked to me, and Kurt requested a similar raise to what the custodial group had received. He's a part of the auxiliary group, but we felt that when he came in and presented the information that he had of things that he's done within the district, and I think the Buildings and Grounds Committee have probably seen him a little more in the past month than they have previously. And when I recommended that, suggested that, the feedback I got was I probably should pay him a little bit more, but I won't tell him that. But he is a very good employee that, when it comes to facilities, the things that he does for the district really saves us money. And the amount of rebates that he's filled out, he's done a wonderful job for us. So we're recommending a similar increase as what the custodial group got.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bob Wood, second by Ethan. Further discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes
I guess just
unanimously.
one clarification I would make is the custodial group would get paid back to the beginning of the year. Kurt's would start January 1st.
Okay. And the teachers, the teachers agreement for 2019-21, they have settled, and we need to consider approval of that agreement. That's per the, board negotiation committee recommendation.
Yeah, so moved. Second.
We have a motion by Scott, second by Bob Woods. Discussion.
Yours went very well too, so thank you guys. Yeah. Really appreciate that.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. Okay, brings us to consider approval of updated timeline for the superintendent search. And, you have Matt They also in your packet or in your information, work session to set it, and everybody's familiar with it. We have Lee, there he is.
I'm sorry.
I should introduce you, Lee, is it Warren?
Warren, yeah.
Warren. I look at the spelling of your name and I stumble, so thank you for being
Thank
here
you.
tonight, but.
The timeline is updated based upon the decisions that you made at the last meeting and reviewed. So we present it for your final approval, and then that will trigger all the rest of the process.
So, move that. Okay, second. Motion by Bob Johnson, second by Tammy to approve that updated timeline. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Keep it handy, everybody. Okay, related to the superintendent search, next item is consider approval of the hiring criteria and the vacancy brochure. And I have that also. And I'll call on Lee again. Did you want to make any comments or
Real
talk about
quickly,
the final?
we did take this and work with your leadership and staff and Kelly, and we got the final numbers corrected. So this is the final reading. I'd like you to approve this, or I'd ask that you consider approving it tonight so we can post it. Since I was here 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we've already got 6 applications that have begun. They haven't been finished, we started without having information. So we want to post this the first thing tomorrow, so we can kick things into gear.
And I saw no
I make a motion
glaring,
to
yeah.
approve.
Second.
Motion by Bob Woods, second by Bob Johnson, discussion. So, I guess it's been looked over by many sets of eyes at this point, or a number of them, and so I didn't see anything. Recognize some of the changes that were made, and it looks good, so. Any further discussion on that motion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate you being here tonight, and, yeah, hopefully you're going to be busy.
I'll be back next week to begin the listening sessions, and then February 20th is when I'll come and we'll spend an extended time, and we'll do all of the interview training, and that'll take an hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll go through from A to Z.
Appreciate you leading us through this, and,
My pleasure.
we'll.
And I believe the online survey is open,
I believe it is. Yes.
and so we'll be advertising
And
for
you've been
community input.
advertising that as well, so.
Yep.
Will be, yeah.
Yeah, so folks can do the online survey.
Where's the hard copy of
And there are some copies available. Almost no one does that, most everybody goes on.
But we will be
some copy.
publicizing it
And then,
anyways.
and then I'll talk to 5 different stakeholder groups, the administration, the board, staff, students, and community as well. So we'll gather all that information, add it to the online survey, and we'll come with a composite to you and show you what it is that everybody's thinking. So that should help guide you in this process as well.
So have you determined how you will gather the community people to have?
Typically, what we'll do is we'll have an open community meeting in the evening typically, and I think we have it scheduled. Is that right? We haven't scheduled that yet.
I gotta look at Kelly.
We haven't scheduled that yet. It'll be on either, yes, we have to. Yeah, it's on the 3rd. There's let's see, I think I'm here early, like 7:30 in the morning on the 3rd, and I think that night is a PTO meeting.
Mhm.
And I think we're gonna do it
That's right.
during the PTO meeting, if my memory serves me.
So to make sure that the demographics that we want represented are, here, Lord, how is that going?
So typically what happens is that you'll use all avenues of communication that you would normally
Okay.
use. So if you have a messaging system for snow days, if you use a regular radio spot, if you use newspaper or sending those out with kids, younger kids, whatever, with a link to the online survey. And because it's driven by SurveyMonkey, then it automatically collates that and makes it easy. The other, the ones that I gather by hand will have to be literally collated and brought together by hand. And then combined with the other stuff, you'll see it all. You'll get an awful lot of information out of this, and it's really good reading in terms of understanding where the community is at, what it is that they think you ought to be looking for, and it's really it's a wonderful tool.
But we have to get the word out so that people that are interested in
really helps.
participating in the.
It really helps. As a comparison, I'm doing another district that is, they have, it's a bigger district, and they ended up with about 500 inputs. Either it was 280 that were online, and the rest were in person, and that provided information to their board. So that gives you a perspective. So that's a lot of information.
So the information from the listening sessions will be combined with the
Yes.
survey
Yes.
results or
Yeah, and
information.
I'll be here on Monday, the 3rd, doing the listening session, and as it is right now, Sandy will be back on the 4th, because I'm gonna be someplace else on the 4th. However, she fell and hurt herself badly on the ice, and so we'll see, I may end up having to come back on the 4th, or see her, whatever, but we'll get it figured out.
Was that since last week at leadership?
Yes,
Or-
it happened.
Cause I didn't run into her then, but was she on, she wasn't there?
Oh, she was there.
It was after that?
Yeah, it just
All right.
happened, late yesterday.
That's too bad.
Oh, Mr. Well.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully she'll be okay. We'll find out more about it.
Okay, so, Pat, did we, have a motion on the brochure? No, I don't think so. Kelly, we need a motion yet to
I thought we
approve it?
did.
Did we?
Motion.
Okay, so this is all after,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Board reports then, board members.
I had program board meeting today. Just basically the introduction for the year, so chairs out of Brigham, like the same as last year, same officers all around as last year. Policy review, recommendations on all policies, and then expositories and all that.
Organizational.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep. So, if I remember right, we approved, that the rubber would be keeping 150,000 of the excess funds, and the rest would be distributed to, the districts, and I think we were slotted at about 21,000.
I was thinking 23, but
Yeah.
right in that bracket.
You're talking about the, resolving of the.
Federal.
Or they changing the,
No, every year they get certain,
Federal funds.
oh,
Money back.
okay.
And in the past, we've always kept the 150, and then over and above that gets distributed back based on the number of students that you have. So size of district, each of the districts gets a little different amount back.
because like last year, we kept almost all of it since, you're right, Karen, in the respect of, because of Cambridge background and everything, then it was all kept last year to
With
get our,
the- it was always
to get us
kept,
up
yeah.
to 15, we're at 15%, we were the rest of the districts at 6% that we used, we're at 15, and that was our goal, was to get to 15. And I think Candy, you and I were at a board advisory and ground it
Old news.
Yeah, but there's so much that has happened between.
referendum, I know, was very strong.
Yeah, there was a lot of.
Renovate, superintendent search,
Yep.
and branding update.
Yep.
And then a reminder for the School of Excellence celebration on February 13th. That's what we're working on.
Excellent, thank you.
attended two of the sessions, one on extracurricular activities and the school board, and basically just saying, you might not have been, you know, part of stuff before, but you are now, and a lot of it comes down to, we've had discussions with funding and different groups, and, you know, so we are all on top of that. That was good. The other ones, looking at the shaking of heads and that hadn't been, so it was good to know that we're on top of that we have things come in and how it goes out, so that was good. Second one was on long-term facilities maintenance and some different things, and go in there looking for more information. Just leave ticked off, because sitting there listening to North St. Paul and they're griping about stuff, even though they're one of the big 25, so they get to set whatever they want to spend for long-term facilities maintenance. And the $285 million that they took in to repair, renovate, and build new, and at a cost of $5 a month above what their existing one was. And now I don't know what the other part was, but it was just such a minuscule amount. And then Hutchinson's was $12 a month. They're not one of the big 25, but bigger schools and just the different avenues they have, and particularly the one, we're talking $285 million, and looking at the photos that they put out there, and, oh, we have to change this and change that, and I'm just going, I wish we had that, I wish we had that, and, you know, and they definitely had some needs in there too, some older shop. It'd be like us taking our locker rooms, and they had offices in some of those for, you know, specialists and whatever, and you could see those in the background. They, you know, yeah, you need some things, but they just said, look, being one of the big 25 where you can sit and do whatever updates and repairs, you can set your own, yeah. It's a shake our head. And speakers were wonderful. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other board member reports? Okay, we'll move on to Jen. Student board member report.
So I just want to start by saying thank you again for including Abby, Jackie, and I in the School Board Association conference. I think we all took something different out of it, and we definitely learned and had a great day, so thank you for that. Abby, Jackie, and I, we went to one of the yes, on the vaping epidemic, it was called. Just because we see it and hear about it so much in our school, we kind of wanted to see what other schools' input on this epidemic was. And as students, Abby and I were like, yep, seen that, yep, heard people using this. But then they took it a step further and they're like, oh, we're finding all of these new things, and we're like, we have no clue what this is. So it's kind of good for us to see, like, these could be coming to our school soon. This is kind of what they're doing with it. It was from the Duluth East principal was talking, because they've apparently had some very bad cases of it. Like, she said that she suspended 3 the morning of this talk that she was just giving. So we kind of did a takeaway from that, and we'll be talking to Mr. Nelson at our next meeting kind of about what we can do as leaders and what we see that the school can do. So
it's all about arm yourselves or get your toolkit.
Yep. Yes, that was it. So
To try to be proactive or try to be, I mean, it's just something we want to get a handle on.
right. And they said that as much they saw an extreme increase last year, and now it's kind of plateauing, which is good or bad, whatever way you want to see it. And they hope that it's kind of on the decline as more people are aware that vaping is bad, vaping can hurt you. They've made a lot of cigarette comparisons, so we'll take steps to see what we can do about this. Next thing we have our winter semi-formal is on Saturday, and we've had the most number of sign-ups since Jackie and Michelle have been advisors, so
That's pretty
hopefully
fun.
the Grand Event Center can hold all of us. And we upped the price this year to help pay for a new mascot. So we have a mascot costume, but from what I've heard, it doesn't smell very good. So I wouldn't know, but that's what I've heard. And Jackie, actually, did you find the company? Found a company that'll make mascots. So we, as a student council, will be chipping in to help pay for that, which is the reason that the price was raised this year.
So I'm just curious, and maybe you don't know, but what approximately what kind of a budget do you have for it? What is it like?
We're chipping in
$5,000.
Yeah,
$5,000.
But Randy's helping. As long as the elementary
curious,
can also use it,
Or
so.
we could put it to good use at the elementary.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So I sent them all of the, like, all of our branding images, cause then they will create it to like match, like the colors and the style and as much as they possibly can with the new branding information, so, and then, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's, so they make the mascot and then you can add on things like $375 for it to wear a t-shirt and like $375 for it to wear a pair of shorts. But we know one Anna Patnod who happens to be excellent with making costumes and has offered to do it for way less than that, so.
My question is it a one person or a two person?
It is a one person. And they gave the range of the weight and heights that it will fit, so.
Did you ask Randy?
I'm pretty sure he's an outlier.
So when did you say it happened, or when is it expected?
It'll take a little bit, but we'll see. They're in the designing phase of it right now, so.
So we're anticipating by sometime school starts in the fall, or yet this
I would-
spring?
I don't remember. I would have to read the email again about the production time. But I mean, they design it and then we can look at it and like say, yes, this looks okay,
So
or
it's
no,
a
we want these
process,
changes.
or-
Like they sent pictures of like 3 other horse ones that they have made in the past, so we got an idea of, this all stemmed from last year. Isaac and Molly wanted to get a new one and they found this amazing looking mascot and we were like, yeah, we're gonna order it, and I started poking around on the website and I was like, this is not a legitimate website. And so we had a little lesson about how to tell that you shouldn't buy from these websites when you see these red flags. And then, but kept digging into it more and found this one that actually makes legitimate websites. And they've been great to work with, so, but I mean, we can check off at every step of the way that like, yep, we like the way that looks, we like the way that looks.
All the timing is right, I think it's good.
Millie needs a makeover.
They come with the fans inside the hood and everything.
It's actually
Yeah.
only like $45 to get a fan inside it, so that's like,
Okay, you gotta-
and
you
like
gotta have the fan.
a special carrying bag so it can all fit inside of it, so,
Yeah.
yep.
You gotta have that.
You're gonna auction off the old one?
That would be.
I don't actually know who's in possession,
I think it's in the
Is
band
it in the band room?
I think it's
That's
locked
what-
in a cabinet somewhere in the band room.
Rusty
From
one.
my small knowledge of it.
So, Jen, anything else?
Just little things. So formal is always the end of our snow week. It's kind of just one way that we can recognize our winter sports. We have a pep fest tomorrow. We have each sport, boys and girls of each play another sport in something that's completely random that either one would be good at. So I know the girls' Nordic ski team is playing girls basketball in dodgeball. And there's some boys team is playing some other boys team in volleyball. So it's kind of just a fun, these are our sports teams, here's what they're doing. And
Oh, they can look stupid.
yeah, basically it's
Yeah.
making, so we had our dress up days this week and I think our participation went fairly well for most of them. We kind of went a little bit out of the norm. We did like fake an injury day and today was throwback Thursday, wear as funky clothes as you can. So that was fun, and we had a reward movie for the sophomores who won our food and toy drive. They did that the Friday we got back from break.
It was the second day.
Yeah, very close to break. They raised a bunch of money, so they each had popcorn at the movie theater, and it went really well. So hopefully we can continue to do that for those kids. But I think that's all I have.
That's awesome activities. Nice job. Thank you. And we were glad to have you last week at the conference and hope that can continue because there are good takeaways for everybody, so. Okay, activities, community ed. Chris.
Here I am.
She's still there.
You switched.
First of all, I want to congratulate Jen Woods
Yes.
and Colton Brodall. They were selected to represent Mora at the AAA Awards, which
You
was
guys,
last
nice
night.
job, too.
Mr. Schultz was our representative from the school, and Scott is also on that committee. From what I understand, it went really well.
Absolutely, and Mora was well represented.
Thank you.
So congrats on that.
And I'm sure you are approving of the selection from Eric, the subsection.
Oh, yeah,
She
sure.
knows the select.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I know, I was sitting and telling these guys that you sit down and you're like, I know you, competed in sports against you. It's basically a lot of people that
Well, congrats on
Thank you.
representing us, and you're all worthy in your own right, but you can only pick one.
Yeah. The easy part of the night and so fun is to sit and listen, introduce, hear everybody talk, and then the tough part is after that, we go, okay, how do you, because everyone is qualified, everyone is up there, and how do you rank things that are, they're identical, but not really identical, and, you know, your band is like this, and, but yeah, Mora was well represented, the other schools were too. I knew some of the other kids, you know, through Eric, that he had sang in choir with a couple, and, you know, just knew a few, not a lot, and knew some of the other parents and that too, but.
I didn't think about it, but Jen's speech was so good, we should have had her done.
Yes.
She would have shown up at the meeting, but.
I have notes on it,
Although that'd
so there
be,
you go.
this would be the easy group, I'm sure you.
You have it memorized, don't you?
It's his thing.
honestly stood up there and just talked, and it's all kind of a blur now.
Yeah.
It was there.
Yeah,
It
but
sure
what I
is,
gotta tell
though.
you about her speech was, and what I really appreciated is, I was just beaming when you were finished, because it was an ad for Mora Public Schools. She talked about her time here and the opportunities and everything, and it was really, really good, so I really appreciated that.
Thank you, all right, Chris,
Couple
back
more
to
things.
you. We segue back to Jen, now we're gonna, I'm not gonna leave you out.
I just wanted to touch base, we were supposed to host the state ninth grade wrestling tournament last weekend. With the weather, of course, it was canceled. Tom did a great job. We had to bring in outside mats from all over, from different schools. We had 8 competition mats set up, and then we also had 2 practice mats set up in courts 5 and 6. So it was nice to have a dry run. I think with all that work put in, it would have been nice to host it, but we will host again next year. By 1:30, we were down to 6 teams. I mean, we were gonna hold it and just whoever could come, but by 1:30, it was like, okay, we can't do this anymore. So Tom did a great job putting that together, and it's not bad that we had a dry run. So next year, there's a few things that we'll tweak and do a better job at and get ready for that, so. On the community ed side, we are always just trying to schedule more classes, getting new ideas from community people, so we're just, every month we're trying to add more in there. So if you have any questions, everything else is in my packet.
Thanks, Chris. Transportation, buildings and grounds.
Last month we said a vendor would be coming to do a kind of a survey of our camera systems on our buses, and I think it went okay, but we do have a few cameras that aren't working completely, and so I don't have a complete list over budget lines, but we'll have you take a look at that here in the next few weeks. Buildings and grounds, I need to report that the radon testing has been complete at the wellness center, and there was 41 packets hung, and all 41 packets were well below the threshold for mitigation. So we're all clear. I put the report together and sent it to the Department of Health, so we're all clear now for 5 years with the radon in our district. If you have any other questions, let me know. Been a busy few weeks and been busy here into next week. ICS coming soon.
Thank you very much, Jen. Okay, high school principals update.
DEED, a lot of you know what DEED is, our Department of Employment and Economic Development. They reached out to us and they would like to host an event here in May. We will expect about 100 guests. It'll be a half day on a Friday in May, and the event is a GPS Innovative Approaches to Career Readiness. And one reason I'm excited about this is they specifically want to host it here so they can highlight some of the cool things we're doing down in the career tech ed area. Just hats off to the food service. Last Friday, we did the 3-hour early out, and they were very flexible with being able to feed students. And then I just wanted to, as long as she's here, Jen had a tough race today. A lot of teams, tough course. She took 6th place out of about 100. So
Wow.
we're proud of her.
All right, thank you. Elementary.
We put some of our fast results from the winter on here. QComp, as you know, this year went to a math focus. And so it's kind of, we were curious, like, does that make a difference? So when we crunched the numbers, there's a lot of words there, but basically kindergarten and first grade, many more students were proficient in the winter than came in the fall. Significantly, 23% more kindergartners in winter and 36% more in first grade. So those are really high numbers of kids that weren't proficient and now are considered. Second, fourth, and sixth had higher median scores increase this year than they had last year. And then third and fifth both had the highest median winter score in 3 years. So when we ask ourselves, is this focus making a difference? Are the conversations looking at data, changing up some curriculum, having more engaging activities, all those things that we're doing through PLCs and at the grade levels, it is making a difference. So we just really were pleased to see that. We're not focusing on reading, but hopefully you don't lose the gains you've made, so we looked at that. And we had the highest score in the last 2 years for winter on that too. So we're not losing that reading either. So we just were really happy with the results and we wanted to share those with you.
Nice. Impressive.
We're working on 2 social emotional growth items at the intermediate level. We're doing some character and citizenship lessons for our 5th and 6th grade. This company's going to take the girls the next 4 times in the next month, and I'm going to take the boys. Just have some lessons geared for good citizenship and growth. And Stacy is also working with Josh Johnson. He's a school psychologist out of Princeton, but works with all the districts about tier 2 interventions for behaviors. So they came up with some great ideas for some mentoring programs for our grade 3 through 6 students that just need a little nudge and another person to connect with throughout the day. So we are meeting on Monday with that to start that implementation as well.
And we're combining our PBIS committee with our instructional leadership committee because they're not separate. Behavior affects instruction. And so then we're gonna look at what are we doing well, what do we wanna change, do we have any gaps? And so we'll be doing that the rest of the year, and then if we need to change anything, then implementing that next fall, so.
And Mr. Schultz referenced the School of Excellence. I hope everyone can make it. It's at 9 a.m. on the 13th of February.
Sure. All right, thank you. Superintendent's update.
I think I've covered just about everything already this evening. We are working on a grant. Chris Osterbeck and I are working with the Connecticut County Economic Development Authority for a summer daycare program. Initially, when they talked to us, they were applying for a much larger grant, and they were asking simply for space. Did we have space to lease to them or to let them use in the summertime at our elementary school? And we had agreed that we could come up with some space availability. They did come back, we did meet with them. There's a smaller grant available through the First Children's Finance to do some planning and development for the potential of having us run a summer program. We used to have a summer program here a number of years ago, and it was well attended, and then attendance dropped off until we were down to where it wasn't financially available to even make the payments to our employees that were working, and so then we dropped the program. It was requested 3 or 4 years ago to bring it back. We did a survey of the students that we served during the course of the year because this would be focused on kids in kindergarten through about 12 years old. They're school-age children. And so we did a survey of our parents, and there wasn't enough to start up the program again. And so based on what the Economic Development Association is hearing is that there's a shortage of daycare in the area for various businesses. And so we will be taking a look at that. I believe they will be applying for the grant, and the grant, it sounded like, was pretty much a done deal. It's for $10,000 for the potential development of that. So we may be looking at starting that up again in the summer. But that'll depend again on how that comes up. School calendar, we covered negotiations. We did meet Tuesday evening again with the Paris Secretaries and Food Service Group. And we have scheduled the next meeting for next week, the revised budget, and then the superintendent search. Those are the categories. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Great, thank you, Craig. So, upcoming dates, just glancing at those, like I said earlier, just keep the calendar handy. Thank you, Kelly, for creating a nice little handy dandy calendar with upcoming meetings, and don't see the School of Excellence Day on there, but make sure you know that it's on the 13th too. So, in addition to that, everything else, 9 a.m. February 13th at Mora Elementary for the celebration. And you can read through all the dates on your own, but yeah, special meetings and work sessions there. Anybody else sees anything else or thinks of anything else with the remainder of comments on there?
I would just
Shout it out.
remind that I will be in the state February 10th and 5th at the conference.
Okay. Yeah, and if anybody does any regular special meetings, we're actually maybe required, or a quorum is required, you should let Kelly know. Okay, correspondence, becoming around, is there any other board business?
I did one thing
Scott?
from the last session when we were at. I found this interesting because I asked my girls at home, I'm gonna ask these kids, who here's a Google expert? Anybody? Who thinks they're a Google expert?
Right.
This one right here? Really? You sure?
Sounds like
Who knows how to use Google and has used Google? Pretty much everybody here, right? Yeah. Do you know what Wolfram Alpha is? Yeah, they're good. She's already ahead of us. So I'm gonna say, make sure we get that information over to you guys, because it was really impressive what this guy learned. I'm just saying, for my own stupidity of saying, with Google, the example that this person used was Iranian hostage situation, and you Google it and get all the information you want. If you do that on Google, all you're getting is American news. That's it. That's all you're gonna do. If you want to get other points of view from other countries, that's, at my girls' site, right there, but just type in, not www, site, SITE, IR, and now you have all Iranian sources. And you can't search for Iranian hostage situation, because that's not what it's referred to. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but call it the great Satan's demonizer, whatever you want to, it will bring you up then to that same reference point. But it was so interesting. I do a lot of genealogical research on different things through different countries, and what a nice little thing to have. But that was really interesting. But the Wolfram Alpha stuff, educationally speaking, was, oh my goodness, with the math stuff that they have out there, it was really, really something. But see, they put you on the spot, they put it in, so.
I was impressed you found or identified a fake site for ordering school
So,
mascots.
it was just one other little thing there.
He didn't even ask us if we were experts. He said, who here feels like they know how to do it?
Yes, that's true.
And the whole auditorium raised their hand. And then I think he said, well, how many of you think you're above average?
Which I think everybody thinks they're about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But at the end, I think there was one, maybe two people in.
By the time he was done, none of us felt above average.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. Though the one person kind of knew what, they were doing, the rest were like, oh wow, I'm snapping photos of this.
Alan November was his name.
Yes.
Very, very good speaker.
Oh, yeah, that would be the key to last time.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other board business, otherwise second open forum? Anybody like to make any comments at this time? Appreciate all being here, if not, we will move for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Alright, we are adjourned. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Necessary, because he's gonna stay. Stay around.